Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anita Louise. Today I'm going to show you how I made these super cute little Fox gift card holders. So if you want to learn how to make these, stay tuned because we're starting right now. All right, so let's make sure we've got all of our supplies. We need medium weight yarn in whatever color you like, but you need a color for the body. So body, a color for the face, and black for the tips of the ears unless you want to use another color, and black also to embroider the eyes. Also a fun color for a little flower or for the bow tie, whichever you want. So as long as you have those colors, 1, 2, 3, so 4 colors. Then we've got our size G crochet hook, a button for the nose, some scissors, a little bit of thread and a needle to sew that nose on. Let's see, a big yarn needle for weaving in our ends. And I use some stitch markers for when I'm like spacing the eyes out to see where I'm sewing them. So that might be helpful for you, but it's not required. And that is it. So we are ready to get started. So we're going to start out by making a slip knot. There's my little pretzel. And there we go. Now we're going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And we're going to do 24 single crochets across. So we're going to go in the second one from our hook. So here's our first one. We're going to skip it and go into our second one. So single crochet. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Now we're going to do 2 more rows of single crochets just like that. So chain 1 and turn it, and we're going to single crochet all the way across. So in your first stitch, there's 1. Next stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just keep on going till you're all the way at the end. Here's 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn it and repeat that row. So single crochet in the first stitch, in the second stitch, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, and continue on down till you're at the end. Here's 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. All right, now starts the fun rows. So this is where we're going to change colors to white to start making the face. So first we're going to do 10 single crochets in our orange, and then we're going to switch to our white. So we're actually going to do 9 single crochets, and the 10th one is going to be a change to the white color. So we do our first one. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's 9. All right, so 10th one, we're going to be switching to our other color. So whatever color you chose for the little face of your guy, it might not be white, it's whatever color you picked. I'm using an off-white color for my face. This one I used a white, so whatever you want. So we're going to grab that color now and get it ready, because we're going to be switching to this color in the next this next single crochet, the 10th one. So insert your hook and draw up a loop. And here we go. We're just going to take the other color, put it right over our hook, and we're just going to draw through with it so that we have a 10th single crochet in orange, but we switched to white. So now we have our white ready to go. Now we're going to be crocheting on top of the orange and the end of this white to hide it. So we're going to be hiding the end of the white. The orange we're crocheting over so that we can carry it with us, because we're going to be using it to finish our row. So we're going to do 4 single crochets using this white thread and crocheting on top of these 2. Ready? So we insert our hook, draw up our white, yarn over. There's our first single crochet, and you can see I crocheted on top of that orange and white. Here's 2, here's 3, and now the 4th one we're going to be changing back to our orange. So insert your hook, draw up your white, but now we're going to yarn over with the orange so that we can switch back to it. So now we have 4 white single crochets, and we are switched back to our orange. Now, slight bit of a tricky part, but not too bad. What we're going to do is leave our white yarn here. We're not going to crochet over it and take it with us. We're going to leave it here, because we're going to pick it back up again on the next row when we switch to white. So the end one here, you can either continue crocheting over it or push it to the back of your work. I think I'm going to stitch over it a couple more times. So, but leave this one back there, because we're not going to carry it with us. We're going to leave it there so we can pick it back up again. So we're doing 10 more single crochets in the orange color. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 10. And you might notice I just left that end of white back there. This is going to be the back of our work, and so we're going to push all of our ends to the back. So we'll have lots of little ends, and at the end we'll finish some of them off or snip some of them off if we've already crocheted over them enough times to hide them. So yes, just don't worry about that messiness back there. It's going to be the inside of our gift card, and we're going to clean it up by weaving at ends to make it look a little bit better. So now we're going to chain 1 and flip our work over, because we're working back the other way. So we're going to do 9 single crochets in our main body color, but we're really going to be doing 8, and on the 9th one it's going to be a switch to the other color. So it will be 9 orange ones, but you're going to do a switch in the middle of that 9th one to get it back to white. So we've done 1 in the body color. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, here's our 9th one, so we're going to start it with the orange, and now we're finishing it with our white. So how are we going to do that? We take our white, bring it directly up behind our hook, and we're going to yarn over and drag it right through. So we have switched over to our white. So we have 9 orange single crochets, and we're starting off with our white now. So with our white, we're going to do 6 single crochets this time, and we will be crocheting over our orange to bring it along with us, so we have it on the other side of our white stitches. So go ahead and insert your hook. The place where you brought your white yarn across, you put your hook under that also to kind of cover that up so you don't see the dragged yarn across your work. So insert, draw up your white, yarn over, and draw through. So there's our first white stitch. So you have brought that little piece of yarn under your stitch. So you've stitched right on top of it, and we've stitched on top of our orange too to bring it along with us. So we're going to do 5 more stitches in white, but the 5th one is going to be changing to the orange color again. So do 4 in white. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now the 5th one will be white. So insert, draw up your loop, but we're finishing in orange so we can change back to our orange color. So yarn over with orange and bring it on through. Now this part again where we are not bringing the white with us, we're not going to stitch over it to bring it along with us. We're going to leave it in the back of our work. Just drop it right there because we're going to use it again when we come back on the next row. So leave it right there so it'll be all ready for us. So we are doing 9 full stitches in our orange. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, chain 1 and turn it. I'm going to go back the other way. We're going to be doing 8 in orange, so I like to think of it as 7 in orange because the 8th one is going to be an orange one, but we're switching to white, so I like to keep that in mind when I'm doing it. So I'm going to do 7 in orange, full orange. 1, 2, or whatever body color you chose. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and in the 8th one we are changing colors. So insert your hook, draw up a loop. We're going to yarn over with that white again, so bring it directly up behind your hook and bring it on through. So we have switched to white, and now we're going to do 8 in our white color. So insert into your single crochet, yarn up, yarn over, bring it through. We've got our first single crochet in white for this row, and we're going to do 7 more, and we are bringing the orange along with us. So crochet on top of your orange to bring it along with you so we have it on the other side. So here's our second white crochet, single crochet. Here's the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and this one we are going to be switching back to orange. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over with your orange, and draw it on through. And leave your white yarn back there because we're going to come back and get it on the next row. So we're going to finish this row with 8 single crochets in the body color. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then chain stitch and turn it. We're working our way back again. So this time we will be doing 7 crochets in our orange. So it's going to look like really 6 crochets in orange and then 1 that's half and half. So let's do our 6 full ones in orange. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one we're going to do started in orange. Then we're going to finish it in our white. So bring your white directly up behind your hook and pull it on through. Now, pull it on through. There we go. Now using our white, we're going to insert into our next single crochet, draw up our white, yarn over, draw through, and we've got our first white single crochet. Now we're going to continue in white, our second white crochet, third white single crochet. There's our fourth, our fifth, our 6th, 7th, 8th, whoop, 9th, and then this one, oh dear, where's my yarn splitting? 9th, all right, now this one is going to be our 10th crochet in white, our single crochet, and we're going to insert our hook, draw up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over with our orange because we're switching to orange. There we go. And then we're going to continue with 7 more single crochets in orange. And we're going to leave the white back here because we're going to pick it up on the next round. If you find that your body color and face color yarns are getting a little bit tangled, you can just rotate your work and it untangles them. Depends on how you crochet. Yours might not get tangled. Mine do just a little bit. They get wrapped together. So I like to just untangle them every couple of rows. All right, so we're going to do our 7 single crochets in body color. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1 and turn it. We'll be working our way back on the next row. So we're going to do 6 single crochets in our orange. So here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our 6th one, we're going to switch to white. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, bring your white over here, directly up behind your hook, bring it on through. And now, again, we're going to catch this yarn that we dragged across. We're going to go under it to get into our first single crochet. Draw up our white loop, yarn over, pull through. There's our first white single crochet. We're going to do 11 more of those, so we have 12 white single crochets. So there's 1, here's 2, there's 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now our 12th one, we're going to be switching back to orange. So insert, draw up your white. Now we're yarning over with orange. Drawn on through. All right, so we have 12 single crochets in white. We're going to leave our white yarn back there so we can use it on our next row. Leave it right where it is. And we're going to do 6 single crochets in our orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to work our way back with 5 orange single crochets. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. This 5th one we're going to be changing to white. Insert, draw up your orange, bring your white yarn directly up behind your hook, yarn through. Here we go. Now with the white yarn, we're going to be doing 14 stitches. So for the first one, insert your hook in front of that yarn that you dragged over. Catch the orange because we're going to bring it along with us, so we've got it on the other side. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th one, we're going to switch back to our orange. So insert, drop your loop, yarn over with orange, and bring it on through. All right, and leave the white back there. Oop, I'm getting twisted again, so I'm just going to twist my work around here. There we go. All right. Now, working with orange, leaving the white back there, so we've got it on our way back. Going to do 5 single crochets in our orange. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1, turn. We're actually going to repeat that exact row 3 more times. So our 5 single crochets in our body color, 1, 2, 3, 4. This 5th one we're changing over to white. So insert your hook, drop a loop, grab your white, bring it right behind your hook. Pull it on through. Now we've got white ready to go. We're going to crochet over our orange so that we can bring it along with us and have it on the other side. So here's our first single crochet, grabbing that yarn that we dragged across. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. There's our first white single crochet. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14th one, we're switching to our orange. So yarn over with your orange and pull it on through. All right, now we're going to complete this row with 5 single crochets in your body color. Leave your white back there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1 and turn. Okay, so we're repeating that exact row 2 more times because that was 1 repeat. Okay, so we've got 5 single crochets in our body color. Here's 2, 3, 4. On this 5th one, I'm switching back to my white. So bring it directly up behind my hook. Pull it on through. Now for the single crochet, I'm going to be going on top of the orange so I can bring it along to the other side. I'm going to put my hook into my first single crochet, grabbing that yarn that I dragged across. Draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through. There's my first white single crochet. All right, here's 2, crocheting on top of the body color to bring it along with us. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14th we are finishing with orange. Yarn over, pull it on through, and then leave the white back there. We're going to do 5 stitches in our body color. There's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1 and turn. All right, this one should be our last repeat of that row. So we're going to do 5 single crochets in our orange. There's 1. There's 2, 3, 4. 5th one, we're going to change to white. Insert, draw up a loop, yarn over with white, bring it on through. Now we're going to do our 14 crochets, single crochets in white. So insert your hook into that first single crochet. There we go. There's our first white one. We're crocheting on top of our orange so we can bring it along with us. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. We're switching back to our orange. Yarn over with orange and draw it on through. And now, guess what, guys? We are finished with our white. So we can actually snip our white yarn. Boom, there we go. And now, as I continue on down this row with my orange for 5 more stitches, I'm actually going to crochet on top of this white one to hide it and cover it up. So we'll go insert our hook, grabbing that white one, or rather grabbing the orange one, but crocheting over the white one. Yarn over, pull it through. There's 1 in orange, 2 in orange, 3, 4. All right, so you can see how I covered up the white by crocheting over it. The last one, I'm going to drop the white back, so we'll snip that later. And I'm just going to do 1 last. There's my 5th single crochet in the body color. All right, and so that white one, we'll snip it off later. And that is it. So we're finished with our little face. Now all we need to do is 4 rows of single crochets in our body color. So chain 1, turn it. We're going to do 24 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Chain 1, turn it, and we're going to do the same thing on our way back. Here's 1. So here's our second row of all orange. For the top of our fox's little forehead. All right, here's the last one, 24. Chain 1, turn it. All right, last row, and then we're finished with the main part of our little gift card holder. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Hey, all right. So we are finished with the base of our little gift card holder. So we can snip our yarn and pull that on through. I snipped pretty long, like maybe 10 inches, because we can use that to sew up our little gift card at the end. I'm going to snip the white yarn off too, a little shorter. There we go, just to kind of get it out of the way. There we go. How cute, right? We are started, well on our way. Okay. All right, next we are going to make the little ears. So grab the 2 colors that you have chosen for your body color and then a darker color for the tip of the ears. And we will get started on those ears. So we're grabbing our yarn, our black yarn, lay it over our hands. We're going to make a magic circle. So wrap it around your hand, crisscross here, whoop, bring it around the back. Insert your hook under the first one, grab the second one, and then grab your yarn, whoop, pull it through to lock it. Okay, so magic circle. Pull your fingers out. We're going to yarn over and draw it through to chain 1. Now we're going to do, in our magic circle, 5 single crochets. Here's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to pull our magic circle closed. There we go. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet to close up the little circle we've just made. Slip stitch, there we go. All right, round 2. We're going to chain 1. In our first stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. In the next one, we're going to do 2 single crochets. A 1 and a 2. In the next one, we're doing 1 single crochet. In the next one, 2 single crochets. 1, 2, and in the last one, we're just doing 1 single crochet. Now we're going to slip stitch into our very first single crochet. To close up our circle once again. There we go. Now we're going to be switching to our other color. So for me, that's this kind of burnt orange rust color. But switch to whatever color you're using. And we're just going to lay the yarn right over our hook and draw it on through. Well, there we go. Now I will be using the orange color, but I'm going to be crocheting on top of the black a couple of times just to hide it and cover up the end before I snip it off, just to kind of secure that end in there. And I'm going to also crochet over the end of my orange too, since I won't be needing that. I won't be needing the end because I'm using my working yarn, right? So we are going to, we already did our pull through with our orange, that counts as our chain. And now we're going to start with our single crochets. So we're going to single crochet into our first one with the orange. So again, we are crocheting on top of the orange end and on top of the black yarn, since we're not using it anymore. So one single crochet, and the next one we'll do 2 single crochets. There, so 1 and a 2. And the next one we do a 1 single crochet. And the next one we've got 2 single crochets. And the next one we do 1 single crochet. And the next one 2 single crochets. Let's find it. There we go. All right, I'm going to leave these ends behind now. In fact, let's snip off our black so we don't need to be crocheting over it anymore. I think that we've crocheted over it plenty, so it is nice and secure, so we're all finished with that. Okay, so in our very last stitch, we do a 1 single crochet. There we go, and now we're going to slip stitch into our very first one. There we go. All right, now next row, we're going to be doing 4 single crochets, so 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. So we've got chain 1, 1 single crochet, another single crochet in the next one. There's 2 single crochet in the next one. There's 3. 1 more single crochet in this one. Now in the 5th one here, we're going to do 2 single crochets. There we go, 1, 2. All right, single crochet in the next 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and in our last one, we're going to do 2 single crochets. One and a 2. There we go, and now we're just going to slip stitch into our first one. There we go. Now chain 1, and we're just going to single crochet around, so there'll be 12 single crochets all together. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There we go. Now slip stitch into our first single crochet and pull this out. Pull your loop out, snip your yarn off, because we are all finished with this little ear. There we go. So now you'll just want to rewind and repeat that little process so that you have 2 little ears. There we go. How cute they are, right? And I'm going to just snip these little 2 yarns off that are from down in my center. Snip, snip. There are the 2 little ends. There we go, and we have 2 ears. Now we have another cute little project. We need to decide if you want to make your fox a cute little girl or a cute little boy, or nothing at all. You know, you can Don't have to embellish him, but if you want to, or her, you can add a little flower or a little bow. So I'm going to show you how to make those right now. So grab the color that you would want your flower to be. And we're going to do a magic circle. Again. So magic circle, grab your yarn and lock it. There you go. Chain 2, 1 and 2. Now we're going to double crochet into our magic circle and then chain 2 and slip stitch down into our magic circle. And we're going to repeat that whole little set 5 more times so that you have 6 petals all together. So chain 2, double crochet down into our magic circle. Oops. Chain 2 and slip stitch. And chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. There's 3 petals all together. You can kind of see them if you push them together. You can see they're starting to look like little petals. All right, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. One more, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch down into your circle. There we go, and you can pull your loop out, snip your yarn. All right, now to make our cute circle, we just pull our cute flower rather, we pull our magic circle closed. So pull, pull, pull. Until it is all the way closed. Oof, give it a good little tug. Okay, now what I do is flip this little flower over to the back. I'm going to take these 2 pieces of yarn and I'm just going to tie them in a knot. So I do a little right over left and a little left over right. Pull them nice and tight and I just snip them off. And that is on the back of your flower, so you'll never see it. Now, to make a cute little colored center in our flower, we need to pick an accent color. So whatever color you like, I'm going to grab this dark teal because it's right here. And you just snip off about, what is that, maybe 8 inches or so. And I'm going to put it into a little needle. There we go. Now flip the flower over, put your needle in the center, draw it up through. There we go. About halfway. Okay. Now I'm going to make 2 little knots with my needle and my yarn. So make 1 little knot on your flower. Uh-oh. There you go. And then 1 more knot up right on top of that knot. There we go. So we have 2 little knots. And then I'm going to take my yarn and bring it, or my needle with my yarn in it, and just draw it right back down through there. So now that knot will stay on top to be the center of my flower. And now I have 2 pieces of yarn back here that I can use to tie my little flower onto my fox. There we go. Okay, so that is our flower, if you want to put a little flower on your fox's ear. Now let's move on to the bow. So pick the color that you might want for a little bow tie. It's going to go under Mr. Fox here. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and use that dark teal again because I've got it right here. So for this, we're going to do our slip knot. Now I'm going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from my hook. So skip the first, we're going right into this second one right here. Single crochet. So I'm going to single crochet into the next one. And single crochet into the next one. So I have 3 single crochets. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and skip 2 chains on my beginning chain. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn it. Now we're basically going to repeat that row. So we're going to do 3 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, skip the 2 chains and do 3 single crochets. There's 1 and 2 and 3. All right, chain 1, turn it, and repeat that one more time. So 3 single crochets, there's 1 and 2 and 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. All right. Now, pull this loop out, snip your yarn, because we are finished with the base of our bow. So now we're going to weave in these 2 ends so that we can kind of tie them into our bow. So to do that, I like to flip mine over, and I find the bottom of my stitches, and I run my needle right through the bottom of them, just like that. And then you thread my yarn through there and pull it on through. And now when we pinch our bow together, that little piece of yarn is going to get wrapped in there, so it's all nice and finished off and it won't come loose. So I'll do the same thing with the other piece of yarn. Just run my needle down through the bottom of my stitches, and then thread my yarn through. There we go, and pull it on through. And there we go. And same thing, that's going to be finished off when we tie the middle of our bow together. So we can kind of snip these off so they're a little shorter there because they're really long. There we go. Now we're going to grab about, let's say about almost 12 inches of yarn. And we're going to, okay, so there's the front of our bow. Actually, it doesn't matter which is the front or the back, but if you look at your stitches, like one side will look a little bit prettier than the other. And this side looked a little prettier. That's why I flipped it over and brought my yarn ends to the back here. So looking at whichever side looks prettier, you're going to put your yarn across it, flip it over, tie it to the back. I just knew it'd do a nice little right knot or square knot. So right over left and left over right. There we go, and just pull it nice and tight. There we go. Now we're going to wrap our yarn a little bit. So grab it and wrap and like pull it so that it's tight. And then you can take your other piece of yarn, wrap it the other way, pull it so that it's tight. Pull, pull, pull. All right, pull both pieces so they're nice and tight. Now, set it down without letting them loosen up too much. This is a nice one if you have someone hanging out around your house. Just ask them to put a little finger there. Just like tying a Christmas bow, right? So it doesn't come loose. But if you pull them kind of tight, they don't really come loose. Okay, so left over right. Pull, pull, pull. And right over left. And pull, pull, pull. And flip it over. Oh, and there is our little bow tie. How cute. And those little end pieces that we wove through before, if they're too long, you can go ahead and snip them off. Snip, snip. There we go. And just like that. So there's our bow tie. And we've got the tie part. This part is the part that we can use to tie it onto the stitch that we're going to put it on Mr. Fox. There we go. How nice. So now we've got our flower and our bow. So once our gift card is all finished, you can decide, or a gift card holder, you can decide which one you want to put on him. All right, so next we are going to make the little eyes on our fox. They're little upside down U's for smiling eyes. Now, if you wanted to flip those upside down, you could actually have a sleeping eyes. So either way, but I'll show you how to do the little smiling eyes. So we're going to grab our little finished base of our gift card holder, and then we're going to grab our black yarn, or a different color if you want his eyes to be a different color. And we're just going to thread that through a needle. Now we're going to start at the very top right corner of where our white starts. Then we're going to go directly over 1 and then down 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is the first place we're going to put our needle, but from the underside. So pop it right up. There we go. Now from there, we're going to go diagonally across this stitch. So we're going to go diagonally over this way to make our first little line. And then we're going to go over 2 spaces, so to make 2 little lines. So come up and over for 1. And then go up and back over for another one. Now we're going to go up through that last little hole again, and then go diagonally down across our next stitch. And there we go, and we have one little smiling eye. I'm going to flip this over and snip our thread because we'll weave that in a minute. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. There we go. So we have our 2 little smiling eyes. There we go. So let's flip this over and we can snip this. Now you can either take these and tie these together and snip the yarns like this, because this is going to be on the inside of your gift card holder, so no one's going to see it. Or you can take your needle, run it across at the bottom of your stitches in any direction, just through the bottom of your stitches, thread your yarn through, pull it on through to hide it away. Either way, when you do that, just make sure you're not pulling it too far through so that it shows through the back. But that looks fine. So either way is totally fine. So I'll show you both ways just so you can see which one you like better. So I'm going to run this through the bottom of these stitches and then bring this piece of yarn through there also. There we go. Pull it on through, and then once you do that, you can snip your yarn off. There we go. So either way is fine to finish it off. This way, I suppose, makes it look a little cleaner, but not that much more. So, and like I said, it's going to be on the inside of your gift card, so it's up to you. Either way. Either way, it looks the same on the pretty side of your gift card. All right, so we've got our eyes. Next, we need to do our nose. So for the nose, we're going to find the center of our white yarn, but we're going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little rows up. And that is where our little nose is going to go. So we're right in here. Here's our 8th row. We're going to find the very center of it, which is, I like to find it between the eyes where the center is, and then drop down to that row. There we go. So it's right kind of in between these two stitches here. Between these two. That is where our nose is going to go. So I'm going to mark it with my needle. I'll grab the thread. So it's going to be between these two stitches. I'm going to grab my little button and grab my needle. Tie a little knot with my thread, and I am using like a heavy button craft Coats and Clark extra strong. Now if your button had larger holes in it, you could maybe use the same needle that you're using, but these are about 1/2 inch buttons and they have kind of small holes, so I have to use a smaller needle. So I just like to make sure that my yarn, or my thread rather, is extra strong. So I like to go up and down on my button and then run it through the loop of my yarn to secure my button onto my, or thread rather, to secure the button onto my thread. And then we can start sewing. So I see those, the 2 little stitches that we're going in between. I'm going to go down the first one. And then I'm going to make sure I go up the next one. There we go. So I'm right in between the 2 of them. There we go. Run my yarn up through my button and down through my button, going through those 2 stitches. There we go. Back up. And down. Do that a couple of times. And you can use whatever button you like for your little fox. I feel like the one I've chosen right here might be a tiny bit too big. But that's okay. He's got character. He's got a slightly bigger nose than my other 2, I think. No, maybe not actually. No, okay. Okay, cool. They're the same. Just looks different because the other buttons I used are wooden and they're a little bit like what's the word? Like made to look kind of vintage, which I love. I love big wooden buttons. I think they're so cute. Okay, now once my button is sewn on really well, distressed, that's the word I was looking for, we're going to just tie a little knot in the back. And then just snip that thread. Like this. There we go. All right, so we've got a little nose and some little eyes. Now we get to sew the back and the button of our gift card holder. So flip that over. Just gonna kind of fold it to where the 2 sides will meet in the back. I'm going to grab this yarn that we left long. If you didn't leave it long, then just grab another piece of yarn. That's totally fine. You'll need, well, I don't know, what is this, about 9 inches worth? You don't really need that much, but it makes it a little easier if it's a little longer. There we go. So just thread your needle through there and we will start stitching. And I just go in one side Then over to the other side. I don't really do anything very fancy with this stitching. Just connect one side to the other side. Okay, there we go. Our back is together. Now I'm going to turn it and go across the bottom with the same yarn since it is there. Let's just keep it going. Oh, let me do one little stitch over to this side here to connect that. There we go. All right, just like this. And I'm just grabbing the bottom of my stitches. Actually, I guess this is probably my starting chain, right? It's the very bottom of our gift card holder. Just going through one side and through the other side. There we go. And now that side of the bottom is all stitched up. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to take my yarn and run it through, or my needle, and run it through the bottom of my stitches to hide it, because I'd rather not tie a knot in it. I'm just going to run them across the bottom and then bring it to the inside and get in through the gift card holder. There we go. Give it a little tug, and now I'm going to just snip it. There we go, and that'll be on the inside of my gift card holder so no one will see it. Now, on the bottom, we have another little string of yarn that was from our very beginning starting chain. I'm gonna run that through my needle and use that to sew up the other side of my gift card holder. The other side of the bottom. All right, now our gift card holder is all stitched up in the back and the bottom. Now we get to add the little flap that is going to close our gift card holder. It's going to come from the back and around to the front, just like this. So we're going to stitch it onto the back and have it flip around and button onto his little nose. Just like that. So to find our place for that, let's find the very center back here and find the center single crochets of the back. So don't count to the middle yarn where we connected our sides of the back together. Just start with the 2 single crochets in the very back. And we're going to count over 6, counting that actual crochet as 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. There we go. There's our 6th one. Same thing on the other side. So start with that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now in this row only, we're going to be crocheting in the back loops only. So I'm going to pull this out, insert my hook in the back loop only, drape my yarn right over, pull a loop through and chain 1. And then I'm going to do a single crochet in the back loop only. And I'm going to be crocheting over this end piece right here to cover it up and secure it. All right, so we've got 1. Here's 2, back loop only, crocheting on the end over this end. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. Here's 6, and skipping over those middle yarns, here's 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I'm going to pull this needle out. It's kind of getting in my way. 11 and 12. All right, I'm going to snip this end piece off here because we don't need it. It's nice and secured under there. All right, now we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to do a decrease stitch in this first in these first 2 single crochets. So now we are not doing back loops only anymore. We're crocheting through the whole single crochet. So insert your hook, draw up a loop. In the next one, insert your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3 loops. So that is our first decrease on that row. Now we're going to single crochet across to the last 2 where we're going to do another decrease. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now we're to our last 2. So insert, draw up a loop, insert into the very last one, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3 loops. And now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to do a decrease in the middle. So we're going to do 4 single crochets. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to insert, draw up a loop, insert, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3 loops, and now we're going to do 4 more single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to do our decreases on the ends again. So yarn, dip your yarn in, drop a loop, draw up another one in the next stitch, yarn over, draw through all 3. There we go. Now we're going to single crochet over to the last 2 stitches. So let's see. Here we go. Now we're at the last 2. So we've done, let's see, our decrease and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets. Now we're going to insert our hook, draw up a loop, insert your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3. Chain 1 and turn. Now for this one, we're going to do our decrease in the middle again. We're going to do 2 single crochets. Here's a 1, here's a 2. Now we're going to do our decrease here. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, insert your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 3 loops. Now we're doing 3 single crochets. Here's 1, here's 2, there's 3. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're doing our decreases on the ends again. So insert, draw up a loop, insert, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3 loops. Now 2 crochets. There's 1, there's 2. Now insert, draw up a loop, insert, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're just doing 2 decreases. So insert, draw up a loop, insert, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3. Do that once again. Insert, draw up a loop, insert, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through all 3. Chain 1, turn. Now we're just doing 2 single crochets. Here's 1, here's 2. There, now our flap is almost complete. Now we need to do chain 5 or 6. This depends on your button size. So let me show you. We'll try with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now turn your gift card holder over to slip stitch into our other side. Now I'm going to pull this loop out a little bit so I don't lose my stitches. See how we've got a little loop here? You need to bring that down and see if it will fit over your button. So let me try this out. Yeah, it does fit. Let's see, it's kind of a big button though, so I'm going to do a chain 6 for mine. So let me pull out that slip stitch. There we go. I'm going to add one more chain to my chain to make it a 6. Now, depending on the size of your button, you may need to add even more, so just test it out. So I'm going to add one more chain, and then I'm going to go back and slip stitch into my other single crochet. There we go. Pull that out a little bit so I can just test this out again without losing my stitches. Okay. There, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to keep that. So I'm going to snip my yarn, draw that loop all the way through. There we go. Now I can grab my needle because we're just going to weave this yarn in. So find the bottom of your stitches, or you can weave it in however you like to. I just like to bring it through the bottom of my stitches. I'm going to thread my needle. So bring them through those 2 single crochets. Those are my last single crochets. I'll bring it through that row. Then I think I'll bring it through the next row as well. So find the bottom of the stitches. There we go. All right, maybe I'll do one more just to secure it really well, to hide that yarn up in there. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to just snip my yarn. There we go. Okay, look at that, Mr. Fox. More of his face is complete. All right, very nice. Now we get to sew on his ears. So let's grab those little ears that we made. Here we go. And the ears are going to go on our flap. They're going to go, if you look and see, you can see the row where we only stitched through the back loops. We're going to be putting the ears kind of like right in front of that. So it's on the very first row of our flap. There we go. And we're going to be leaving 2 stitches in the very middle, just empty, with no ears stitched onto them, if you can see that, so that the ears don't touch. So that means, since there were 12 stitches in the beginning of our flap and we're leaving 2 blank, we will be stitching on 5 stitches on either side. So find your 5 stitches, and that is where your stitches are going to go for your ears. So I like to mark the stitches that I'm not going to be stitching on, so it's the very middle 2. So this guy and this guy right here. So actually you could just use little stitch markers if you have them. So this one we're not going to be stitching on, and this one we're not going to be stitching on. There we go. Just so I know, those are my 2 middle stitches on the middle of his head in between his ears. So he's got a little space there. There we go. So these stitches are all fair game for stitching ears on. So if you left a little bit of thread on your ears, you can use that to stitch them on. And I don't have a very special technique for stitching these on. I just go through the back loops and the front loops and then stitch it onto one of these little stitches and then, continue on. But that's all. Just kind of go back and forth through the stitches. So I'm in the middle here. I'm going to find a middle stitch here to attach this to. I just try to make sure I stay in that row, and the row that's in front of the back loops only. And try to stay away from those 2 stitches in the middle so that he has a little space between his ears. That's all. So just use the little stitching technique that you like best. But I do try to make sure I go through front and back so the entire ear is secured on there. There we go. So I'm right next to those stitches that we're not stitching on. So I'm going to go through here, and then I'm going to work my way back towards the other side on this end where I haven't stitched yet. There we go, and once his little ear is stitched all the way on, then we want to secure this yarn. Let's see, do I need one more little stitch on there? I think so. Let's get it on there really well for Mr. Fox. All right, now, oh dear. Now I like to get rid of this end of yarn by stitching through the bottom stitches of my ear. And then I take it and I run it up through the center of my ear. So I'm not going through the back, I'm going through the middle because the ear is kind of hollow, you know. I'm going to bring it through the back and then I'm going to snip this yarn off. So now my end is lost in the middle of his ear, so you'll never see it. There we go, and then I'm just going to repeat this little ear process on the other side. There we go, and once we are finished with his cute little ears, now we just get to decide if we want to embellish him anymore by adding maybe a flower or a bow tie. I think I'm going to add the bow tie to him because that's really cute. So this is really easy since we already have the yarn attached here. I'm just going to thread this yarn through my needle and I'm going to find, let's see, the center stitch or the centermost stitch kind of under him. So I go below the white, in between the bottom 2 rows here, or like the 2 rows under his little white part of his face. Go right in here, try to find like the centermost spot and just bring my yarn through there. And you can wrap it a couple times just to get it nice and secure. You can even bring it like through the bow and kind of secure it like all the way up and down through. Some of these stitches, just make sure that you do not go through the back of your gift card. You want to make sure that you're only going through the front because you don't want to stitch the card, the gift card holder closed at like on the bottom, you know, then you wouldn't be able to push your gift card all the way through. It would kind of stick out the top. So just make sure you're only going through the top layer or the front layer of your gift card holder. There we go. And once his little bow tie's on, you can just, here, I'm going to bring this over here and tie it onto the other piece of yarn from the bow tie, just to finish it off, and that little knot will be under my bow tie so you won't even see it. And snip. There we go, and our gift card holder is complete. There we go. All right, wait, let's test it out though. All right, here's a special little gift card for someone. Oh, it just hides right in there. Thanks for joining me, everyone. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you'll see a new video every week. Bye.